Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip committee meeting. Today is March 28th, 2022, and we'll call this meeting to order at 7:34 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Dalzell is absent. Trustee Juarez? Here. Trustee McLaughlin is absent. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Navas-Varza? Here. Trustee Peretta?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we'll start with officer reports, starting with mine. Just to let everybody know, last Wednesday I attended Lobby Day down in Springfield, Illinois with all of our state legislators. A lot of the state representatives came in on Thursday, but Wednesday when I was there, had an opportunity to meet with both of our state senators, Bill Cunningham and Emil Jones III. I had some good conversation with them. Actually, I sat in on some Senate committee meetings, and I always appreciate the opportunity to collaborate with a lot of our other mayors. I was actually sharing a lot of ideas with a lot of the DuPage County mayors. So it was nice to meet a lot of those guys from Addison, Schaumburg, and Elmhurst and whatnot. Good group of mayors. And I want to thank the South Suburban mayors and managers for the events that they sponsored, the Illinois Municipal League, as well as the Southwest Conference of Mayors, too. There was a good group of folks out there, and we stayed pretty busy. I am looking into a new program that Illinois Municipal League just is promoting right now, too, the Illinois Municipal League Grant Finder Program, so I'll share that with a lot of the department heads when we meet later this week. You know, I'll get a note out to you guys tomorrow, but I think we're going to have to meet Thursday instead of Wednesday because I believe I have a CBA negotiation I have to do on Wednesday morning. I'll double check that tomorrow morning. Also, as a reminder to everybody, we're going to have a student government night here with the high school students from the. I believe Becky is working with the 3 District 218 schools. We're going to do that on May 16th. So we're going to have students sitting in with us as mayor, clerk, and 6 trustees at a board meeting. And then we are promoting a village-wide cleanup day on May 14th. So we're going to ask them for volunteers. We're going to reach out to certainly all of our businesses in the community and the residents, schools, special interest groups, whoever would like to come out and help. We're always welcome their help. And we're going to be cleaning up the village. I did make some calls, and as well as my assistant Becky over the last week, to some local businesses that we felt really should get out and do more to clean up garbage, and they're doing a very good job doing so. As a matter of fact, I think it was Friday, along 123rd Street, Borough Sanitary had a whole crew of landscapers out there removing a lot of the shrubberies and whatnot, and they're cutting everything back to the fence as they should. So we really appreciate the effort that they're making there. I talked to, his name is Michael Carter, the gentleman in charge over there, and we thanked him for doing such a nice job. Same thing with Rushvale Cemetery. Had a nice conversation with those folks, and they're cleaning up over there. I reached out. Mike, thank you for the contact information. I reached the railroad, and I take a couple laps around town every week, looking at many things like you do, things we need to identify, and I reached out to the Indiana Harbor Belt, and I have them fixing some issues with some railroad spur and stuff then too. So and when I see something like that, like with let's say a chunk of asphalt missing, my mom will be the first one to hit that thing, and then what do we do then too? So anyway, everything's going pretty well, and we did post a couple of pictures on our social media and our website today, just to keep the public informed of the construction going on with the gas and wash down the street here in front of the flea market, as well as the Firewater Barbecue and Brew restaurant that's going up at 116th and Pulaski. That's all I had on my report. Actually, I didn't. That's all I needed to report this evening. We'll move on to the clerk's report. Clerk Harding.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a presentation of the March 21st, 2022 board meeting minutes and presentation of the March 21st, 2022 Finance Committee meeting minutes, and that is all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Certainly on a night like this, we don't have an attorney or an engineer available. Public forum, did anyone in the audience wish to address the board this evening? Nobody? All right. We'll go to our standing committee reports then. Finance Committee, Finance and IT Committee. Trustee Navas-Barza.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a list of payroll and accounts payable. I also have a review of the proposed Ptab settlement for 6201 West 115th Street, Alsip, Illinois, for fair market value of $2,720,000 for 2018. Is there anything that you wanted to discuss related to that item? No? Okay. No. The third item on the agenda is the review of the proposed Ptab settlement for 4847 West 111th Street, Alsip, Illinois, for fair market value of $1,260,000 for 2017, 2018, 2019, and $1,805,636 for 2020, and eventually 2021 and 2022. Also, I have an approval to post in-house for 1 week and then post externally to fill a full-time staff accountant position within the Finance Department to fill an open pre-existing position. Finance Director Joyce, anything that you wanted to discuss with that item?
I did put a proposed salary range on the job description that is in the packet. The range is 65 to 71 to 50. After discussion with Charles in HR, that was kind of a range. I'm open to suggestions, of course. I'm going to be extremely particular on this choice, so I want you to know this may take some time. I did not change the job description one bit. Although I shouldn't say that, I did. Where it said that for software, HTE and I believe something else was required, and I put preferred. Not everybody's going to know HTE. So that was the only change I made.
So I'm looking, Joyce, also at the job description right here. This was the original for a staff
From
accountant?
2015 or 17 or something when they redid all those. I want to have this discussion with you because I've talked to the mayor about this. We have some big changes coming up in the finance department over the next year. I'm looking at probably potentially starting implementation of a new ERP system in October, November, or December of this year. So I'm looking at hiring a new person and training them on an old system. And then when it gets time in October, November, and December to implement this new system, I'm certainly not going to let consultants come in and set that up for us because this is where you determine the processes. So I want somebody that will come in and do our daily work that's on the old system and do the new stuff with the people that are going to be working with it every day. And so I had talked to the mayor about potentially putting a consultant in this position right now, 3 days a week. I absolutely think the job can be done that way until we get to implementation. I think Rosa and I could get through implementation and get a staff accountant after that. But I don't have time to mess around. I need a staff accountant of some sort, and so I just went out for filling the position. I got nothing else to do but train somebody new.
So, yeah, Joyce, so we're not doing the consultant at this point. This is a regular
I'm just
hire.
throwing that out there. I would like to do that, but I got to get somebody in this position.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm so I'm not going to read this whole thing. The board is looking at the same thing then too. Did anyone have any questions for Joyce?
Yeah, Joyce, under education and experience, I see just a little bit of a discrepancy. The staff accountant will possess 2 to 4 years of progressively responsible experience in municipal accounting. Now, 2 lines down, you're saying municipal experience helpful. So which is it?
I didn't write the job description.
Okay. So I see a little discrepancy there.
Okay.
I mean, one line is saying it's...
You have to have it, and
You
one
have to
says
have
it's
it. and-
preferred.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe we can
Okay, I can certainly,
clarify that.
yeah.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip committee meeting. Today is March 28th, 2022, and we'll call this meeting to order at 7:34 p.m. You call the roll, please?
Trustee Dalzell is absent. Trustee Juarez? Here. Trustee McGlawhorn is absent. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Navas-Esparza?
Here.
Trustee Peretta?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we'll start with officer reports, starting with mine. Just to let everybody know, last Wednesday, I attended Lobby Day down in Springfield, Illinois, with all of our state legislators. A lot of the state representatives came in on Thursday, but Wednesday when I was there, had an opportunity to meet with both of our state senators, Bill Cunningham and Emil Jones III. I had some good conversation with them. Actually, I sat in on some Senate committee meetings, and I always appreciate the opportunity to collaborate with a lot of our other mayors. I was actually sharing a lot of ideas with a lot of the DuPage County mayors, so it was nice to meet a lot of those guys from Addison, Schaumburg, and Elmhurst and whatnot. Good group of mayors. And I want to thank the South Suburban mayors and managers for the events that they sponsored, the Illinois Municipal League, as well as the Southwest Conference of Mayors, too. There was a good group of folks out there, and we stayed pretty busy. I am looking into a new program that Illinois Municipal League just is promoting right now, too, the Illinois Municipal League Grant Finder Program, so I'll share that with a lot of the department heads when we meet later this week. You know, I'll get a note out to you guys tomorrow, but I think we're going to have to meet Thursday instead of Wednesday because I believe I have a CBA negotiation I have to do on Wednesday morning. I'll double check that tomorrow morning. Also, as a reminder to everybody, we're going to have a student government night here with the high school students from the. I believe Becky is working with the 3 District 218 schools. We're going to do that on May 16th. So we're going to have students sitting in with us as mayor, clerk, and 6 trustees at a board meeting. And then we are promoting a village-wide cleanup day on May 14th. So we're going to ask them for volunteers. We're going to reach out to certainly all of our businesses in the community and the residents, schools, special interest groups, whoever would like to come out and help. We're always welcome their help. And we're going to be cleaning up the village. I did make some calls, and as well as my assistant Becky over the last week, to some local businesses that we felt really should get out and do more to clean up garbage, and they're doing a very good job doing so. As a matter of fact, I think it was Friday, along 123rd Street, Borough Sanitary had a whole crew of landscapers out there removing a lot of the shrubberies and whatnot, and they're cutting everything back to the fence as they should. So we really appreciate the effort that they're making there. I talked to, his name is Michael Carter, the gentleman in charge over there, and we thanked him for doing such a nice job. Same thing with Rushvale Cemetery. Had a nice conversation with those folks, and they're cleaning up over there. I reached out. Mike, thank you for the contact information. I reached the railroad, and I take a couple laps around town every week, looking at many things like you do, things that we need to identify, and I reached out to the Indiana Harbor Belt, and I have them fixing some issues with some railroad spur and stuff then too. So and when I see something like that, like with let's say a chunk of asphalt missing, my mom will be the first one to hit that thing, and then what do we do then too? So anyway, everything's going pretty well, and we did post a couple of pictures on our social media and our website today, just to keep the public informed of the construction going on with the gas and wash down the street here in front of the flea market, as well as the Firewater Barbecue and Brew, the restaurant that's going up at 116th and Pulaski. That's all I had on my report. I didn't, that's all I needed to report this evening. We'll move on to the clerk's report. Clerk Harding.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a presentation of the March 21st, 2022 board meeting minutes and presentation of the March 21st, 2022 Finance Committee meeting minutes, and that is all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Certainly on a night like this, we don't have an attorney or an engineer available. Public forum, did anyone in the audience wish to address the board this evening? Nobody? All right. We'll go to our standing committee reports then. Finance Committee, Finance and IT Committee. Trustee Navas-Barza.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a list of payroll and accounts payable. I also have a review of the proposed Ptab settlement for 6201 West 115th Street, Alsip, Illinois, for fair market value of $2,720,000 for 2018. Is there anything that you wanted to discuss related to that item? No? Okay. No. The third item on the agenda is the review of the proposed Ptab settlement for 4847 West 111th Street, Alsip, Illinois, for fair market value of $1,260,000 for 2017, 2018, 2019, and $1,805,636 for 2020, and eventually 2021 and 2022. Also, I have an approval to post in-house for 1 week and then post externally to fill a full-time staff accountant position within the Finance Department to fill an open pre-existing position. Finance Director Joyce, anything that you wanted to discuss with that item?
I did put a proposed salary range on the job description that is in the packet. The range is 65 to 71 to 50. After discussion with Charles in HR, that was kind of a range. Open to suggestions, of course. I'm going to be extremely particular on this choice, so I want you to know this may take some time. I did not change the job description one bit. Although I shouldn't say that, I did. Where it said that for software, HTE and I believe something else was required, and I put preferred. Not everybody's going to know HTE. So that was the only change I made.
So I'm looking, Joyce, also at the job description right here. This was the original for a staff
From
accountant?
2015 or 17 or something when they redid all those. I want to have this discussion with you because I've talked to the mayor about this. We have some big changes coming up in the finance department over the next year. I'm looking at probably potentially starting implementation of a new ERP system in October, November, or December of this year. So I'm looking at hiring a new person and training them on an old system. And then when it gets time in October, November, and December to implement this new system, I'm certainly not going to let consultants come in and set that up for us because this is where you determine the processes. So I want somebody that will come in and do our daily work that's on the old system and do the new stuff with the people that are going to be working with it every day. And so I had talked to the mayor about potentially putting a consultant in this position right now, 3 days a week. I absolutely think the job can be done that way until we get to implementation. I think Rosa and I could get through implementation and get a staff accountant after that. But I don't have time to mess around. I need a staff accountant of some sort, and so I just went out for filling the position. I got nothing else to do but train somebody new.
So, yeah, Joyce, so we're not doing the consultant at this point. This is a regular
I'm just
hire.
throwing that out there. I would like to do that, but I got to get somebody in this position.
Right. Yeah, no, so I'm not going to read this whole thing. The board is looking at the same thing then, too. Did anyone have any questions for Joyce?
Yeah, Joyce, under education and experience, I see just a little bit of a discrepancy. The staff accountant will possess 2 to 4 years of progressively responsible experience in municipal accounting. Now, 2 lines down, you're saying municipal experience helpful. So which is it?
I didn't write the job description.
Okay. So I see a little discrepancy there.
Okay.
I mean, one line is saying it's...
You have to have it, and
You
one
have to
says
have
it's
it. and-
preferred.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe we can
Okay, I can certainly,
clarify that.
yeah.
Any other questions?
I'm curious as to whether that salary range is acceptable. The staff accountant that was in that position started 16 years ago and started in some kind of a range of $40,000. I don't think that's going to cut it this time. So I just want to make sure that we're offering what the board wants to see. So again, we can vote on this next week. So be thinking about that.
Yeah, I'd like to actually see, only for my own edification, but and the board too, but some sort of a salary survey that, I mean, I appreciate
Yeah,
you
Charles
said.
is the one that gave me these numbers, so I'll get from him.
Thanks.
I don't have anything in writing.
No problem, because this didn't include any kind of degree of any type.
Yeah, it did.
When I'm
Absolutely.
looking
You've
over
got to have
here,
a
Joyce, I
bachelor's
didn't see
degree.
it.
It's
Bachelor's
You want to help
degree.
me? Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm look-
Sorry, I
under
I'm
education and
looking,
experience.
I didn't see it on here.
printed it and forgot to take it off the printer.
It looks like it's kind of crossed out.
Oh,
just the way
here it is
printed.
right here. I saw it, I see it now, Joyce.
Is
Okay.
it crossed out?
Well, the way it
No.
printed, it just kind of seems like it's squished.
It-
Oh, sorry.
No problem. I was reading it, it blended. I see it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Let me just scroll up.
And trustee,
Yes, I'm just trying to scroll up to the agenda. And then item 5, fiscal year '23 proposed boat launch budget.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mike is going to help me with this. So the boat launch, the big deal about the boat launch is the Arboretum. And right now, we don't have any major money that we need to put into it.
Yeah, correct. Boat launch, there's no significant changes this year from last. While we had the east parking lot redeveloped with the green infrastructure project through the Morton Arboretum, all the costs have been incurred by the Morton Arboretum with the grant. There's been nothing out of pocket on our end at this point. We don't anticipate there to be because we've participated in some of the development of the soil out there. So our work in kind is included as the match for the grant, which typically would be about $10,000. So future years, we may look to have to add some monies for maintenance of that section of the boat launch. Mostly it would be for pesticide and herbiciding of the property there. But again, that won't be until fiscal year '24 before we'll have to make those appropriations, because for right now, the first year or two of maintenance will be done by Green Gore and through the Morton Arboretum. So again, not really too many changes from last. Nothing huge going on this year with the boat launch other than standard operations.
thank you.
Any questions or concerns?
Moving on to item 6, fiscal year '23 proposed MFT budget. And then fiscal year, for item 7, fiscal year proposed road and bridge budget.
Okay. We can do motor fuel tax first. And I'll let you talk on that, and you know all about it.
All right, so this year's MFT, what we're looking to resurface this year with those funds, again, they're kind of limited, and we don't anticipate it getting much better the next few years. But this year, we're looking to resurface some streets on the east side of Pulaski between Loveland and Millard from 122nd Street to 120th Place. We're also looking to resurface Platner Avenue near the boat launch and a couple of sections off of Austin Avenue between 127th and Route 83. We have submitted some applications for possible funding opportunities through the Invest in Cook, where we're looking to resurface and improve some drainage along Lombard and Kedvale Avenue between 123rd and 126th. We won't know if we've been awarded that until sometime, I think, in August. So it wouldn't be until next year that we'd be able to do anything with that anyhow. But again, we have been applying for several funding opportunities to increase some of our resurfacing because the MFT is just not sufficient with the amount of roads that need to be done here in town, unfortunately. So it's something we need to definitely look at, prioritize, and address maybe some other funding opportunities or something to try to step that up. I know in the David Estate subdivision, we have a lot of streets that are deteriorated over there. Some of them we can't do until we get some water main moved before we can even touch those. But we definitely are lagging behind. We're trying to keep up on these streets.
Excuse me. Mike, for the listening public, real quick, how much money are you talking on the street resurfacing overall? Do you have a number total there?
This year, I believe we're looking at about $673,000.
Okay.
And of course, the price on materials and everything just continues to go up. So,
Excuse me. Go ahead. Okay, get a water.
So, Mike, let me ask this question. So we cannot apply to IDOT for additional motor fuel tax allocations based on projects because we're not a county or highway or state road?
That was going to be somewhat of my question. Like, where's the hard stop at? Like, for example, Pulaski and some of the residential feeders that come in, is the hard stop right when they touch?
right.
Okay. Because, like, for example, 117th, there's, like, potholes.
Right.
But that was going to be my question to you. I just, so it is a hard stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And that's what makes it challenging, too. The funding that is given on the federal level, and even on some of the state, is it's become more competitive than in the past. Now the monies go to CMAP, which is the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, and they score projects now, and they're based on certain criterias and things like that. So we're basically competing against the city of Chicago and several other suburbs. So unfortunately, it's just that much more difficult to capture some of this funding.
Okay.
Any other questions? Item 8, fiscal year 23 proposed water budget. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Jumped forward. Item 7, fiscal year 23 proposed road and bridge budget.
Okay, this is where the talk gets tough. So as I presented before in the overview on the budget, road and bridge is going to be out of money in 2025. And the reason that it doesn't show at the total on this is because I propped them up. If you look at fiscal year 25 on line 9, there's $1.3 million in property taxes coming in there. That is not an increase in property taxes. That is a reallocation of the current property taxes from corporate to road and bridge. This is a stopgap measure to keep them whole. We want to try to implement some projects between now and then so we don't have to do this. And so let's go back a little bit. If you look at the vehicle tax license, the very first line in the budget, and you look at FY 18, 19, 20, 21, and then you look at 22, we've lost $70,000. What's going on? Why is that happening? So we've done some digging into some detail. The tag system allowed me to go back 2 years and then this last year, and I was able to do a comparison against who paid in 20 and who paid in 21. And believe it or not, there's a $113,000 difference to the lesser. So then the question becomes, well, then who didn't buy vehicle stickers? Well, I haven't done an analysis of everything yet. There's businesses in there. There's all kinds of things in there. I haven't had a chance to dig into it, but even if we did, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to, how do we even know these people are here? Are we going to send our police out or CSOs out to see if these people still have cars in the driveway? You know, what can we do? And Mayor and I attended the SSMMA dinner a couple of weeks ago, and there was a gentleman there that informed me that you can get an entire listing of all the tags that are registered in the village of Alsip from the Secretary of State for $500. Well, that would be helpful to know what our inventory is so we know what we're going after. But again, we're talking about $70,000 to $100,000. That's not going to solve Road and Bridge's problem. Do we up the vehicle stickers? Again, if we do it, it's going to be nominal, and are we going to get enough money out of it? Not really. We need $1.3 million. So that's one issue with Road and Bridge. The next one is, all of Road and Bridge money pays for the storm sewer. We don't have any storm sewer charges on our utility bill at this time. So Road and Bridge is absorbing all of those costs. I'm not sure that that's what we intended for all the Road and Bridge. I'm not saying they're spending every dime on stormwater, but we're spending money on stormwater that I don't know that that's what the taxes were intended to be spent for. I think it's the roads. So Mike's talking about the condition of these roads, and he doesn't have money to fix them, but we're spending money on drainage. So we have some dilemmas here. So I talked to Mike just earlier tonight. We don't know what does storm sewer cost us. We don't know because it's all buried in the costs of Road and Bridge. So if we start to split some of that out, similar to what I did with the sanitary sewer, we have water now and we have the sanitary sewer fund. So we know exactly how much sanitary sewer costs us and how much revenue we're bringing in. We need to do the same thing with the storm sewer and get that pulled out of Road and Bridge so we see exactly how much it's costing us. What do we need to charge to help to cover that? And maybe we implement, like we did with sanitary sewer, a 50% cost added to the bill, and over the years we increase that to get up to 100% coverage. But we don't know. We don't know what it is yet. So it's going to take some time to put it together. That's why I've got the stopgap measure in here for us to put some things in place. I know I've said a lot. I apologize. If you have questions, please feel free to step in at any moment. So that's what we're looking at with Road and Bridge right now. I don't think that your money for Road and Bridge is being spent where it needs to be spent on the roads. I think that we need to get the costs for the drainage system separated from Road and Bridge so that we can see exactly how much that's costing us. And then once we do that, we come up with some solutions about how are we going to pay for this. Because Road and Bridge needs a break. They need to be able to spend their money on roads. So.
And we're starting to see more spending on the storm sewer side because, like the sanitary, like our streets and water mains and everything else, it's an aging infrastructure. So we're starting to see more projects that need to be tended out of the storm sewers. I mean, just last year or this year, I mean, we did relining of the entire storm sewer system in the Chapel Hill subdivision. We're going to start to see more and more of those type of things as we move forward, unfortunately.
So, Mike, I've got a quick question. On my street, they replaced water mains and sewers and over by St. Terrence. So that money comes out of water,
Correct.
right? So to patch and redo the street, is that road and bridge, or is that water?
So restorations that are being completed now from that project is done underwater.
Okay. Is that part of the problem?
No.
So that's its own animal?
We
Okay.
have a lot of streets that are in poor condition in that area due to several water main breaks over the years,
Mhm.
which is why you see a lot of these cutouts and so cuts and things like that, which is why after the main has been replaced, now we'll look to go in and actually resurface the entire street.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I appreciate the explanation, and obviously would be in favor of something where we're proactive, where we can catch it now, where we're trying to play catch-up and we never really catch up. And I believe there was the study that you had shared with us, I don't remember the exact name, but showing us just a study of each of the roads, conditions, and
The pavement evaluation, yes.
the pavement evaluation. So I know I would be in favor, not of, I don't have anything in favor exactly right now, but I know that I'd rather be proactive versus we didn't do anything and then we can't even maintain our roads and other infrastructure.
Right. Road and Bridge is whole for a couple years, but we're going to look at some problems in '25. So that comes in May of '24, just so you're aware. I mean, it comes
pretty
quickly.
close.
It's close. So we got to make some movement in this next year to do something about this. I think a new tag system to accurately collect and be able to research the vehicle tags would be beneficial. That may come with the ERP system. We haven't analyzed that yet. That could be very helpful. Again, that's not a lot of money, but every bit is going to count right now with Road and Bridge. So I think getting that storm sewer separated from Road and Bridge and seeing how much that costs, I think would be beneficial.
So, and that's, what role does the proposal that was brought forth do with solutions? How would that help facilitate some of the, I guess, problem-solving aspect of it?
You guys.
So software like that, again, will help us identify certain conditions, be it pipes. Again, it can take some of that pavement data that we've already gathered and, import that into the system. And it'll give us a better guideline as to, what we're currently spending, what needs to be spent in the future, based on conditions of what we're seeing out there. I think would be the biggest asset of that, ideally, yeah.
I know I was in favor of something like that, and I'm not sure if the board would be interested in revisiting that topic again, if not at this committee meeting, but at a future one.
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions?
What I'd like to do, go ahead, Joyce, were you
No,
going to say
that's
something
fine.
about this? Anything else on Road and Bridge from anybody? All right, thanks, Mike. Is that all you had done budget-wise?
No, yeah, it is. We're sanitary sewer and water now.
Oh.
I just wanted, there wasn't any big changes or any, I feel like this year's budget is comparable to last year's as far as, the need for equipment, the standard projects that we're looking to do. Still looking to do the roof on the Public Works garage, and we got some brickwork needs to be done. But other than that, there's been no huge change from last year.
Okay.
We are going to look at replacing that engine in that truck.
I know, we just talked about that, and
Yeah.
I'll talk back more with the committee afterward and stuff then, too.
Okay.
I wanted to ask a favor, though. Usually I'm very good at this, and I apologize, I skipped right over it when I started this report. Obviously, budgets get a little bit involved. Is there a lot to talk about with water and stuff on here, too?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'll tell you what, then go, no, Danny, I don't want, if it's a short conversation, I don't want to hold you up. You're all right? Okay, if you wouldn't mind then, Dan, can I do a little housekeeping real quick? And this way some folks can be on their way and stuff then, too. All right, Trustee, if you wouldn't mind, then, can we just suspend this conversation just for a quickie?
Sure, no problem.
Just get a couple of reports in, and then we'll go back to this. This way we can release some of the folks from the audience that are here then, too, okay?
Okay.
Dan, I'll get through this quick. So I'd like to skip down, and just so we can release some folks, because we need a short closed session with our attorney. Before we do that, I think this, I can appreciate the Plan Commission gave some unanimous recommendation to us. I'd like to skip to item D on the agenda. Trustee Juarez, down to planning and zoning and licenses. Can you go to your report, and this way we can address a couple folks in the audience on this?
Okay, planning and zoning and licensing. I have a presentation of a list of licenses dated March 14th, 2022 through March 25th, 2022. I have a discussion of planning and zoning case number 2022-03-Z-100-S-600 for a zoning change and special use R1 to B1 business, special use mixed use for the property located at 11512 South Pulaski Road, Alsip, Illinois. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a hearing on March 9th, 2022 and voted 7-0 to approve.
Okay, so Juan, you're here on behalf of that, right? Okay, did anyone have any questions on that? Basically, it's the same property that was there before, that formerly was known as Leo's Garage. And Juan Contreras purchased that with your family, right, Juan? Right. And basically, the Plan Commission approved unanimously to make that adjustment that he needs for a special use for both residential and business at that location. And did anybody have any questions for Juan on that? No? All right. Juan, thanks for coming out, but certainly we'll put it on the agenda for next week and ask the board to approve that. Tonight's just a committee where we have discussion in case there's any issues on that and stuff then too, okay? Okay, so you're fine. We'll put it on the agenda for next week. 7:30 meeting. Okay. Go ahead, trustee.
Number 3, I have a discussion of a planning and zoning case number 2022-03-S-500 for special use gas station B1 business to B1 special use for the property located at 4511-53 West 127th Street, Alsip, Illinois. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a hearing on March 9th, 2022 and voted 7-0 to approve.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, this particular case at 4511 through 53 West 127th, this is the property just west of the Lighthouse Church at 127th and Cicero. And Quick Trip made the presentation regarding this and received a unanimous approval to this board for consideration for final approval. Eric is here this evening and from Quick Trip, as well as Mr. Jim Persino, who owns the property over there. Everyone had a copy of their construction plan on your desk here and so forth. And I know we're familiar with this. We've had presentations from Quick Trip at another location in the past. And Eric, just for the record too, were you planning? Is Quick Trip rather planning to have video gaming in there, or no? It's just no. No video gaming, just you do promote, you're big, like you said, you're big on your restaurant ideas with the food and all that kind of thing, and it's just gas and go. There's no truck parking or anything like that.
24-hour, 7 days a week convenience where we use diesel fuel. There is a Quick Trip kitchen. It's not a sit-down style restaurant. You can see in the traditional travel center that we go up and grab the meal food items and it's no truck parking. We really try to adhere to a lot of the items that were brought to our kitchen for that sense.
Okay.
I think some concerns that some people might have is just the generation of additional traffic, but in essence, it's just capturing traffic that's already passing through. Correct?
That's correct, and I don't know if it made it to your guys' packet, but for the Board of Zoning, we did submit a traffic analysis.
I'm sorry. Hey,
Yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Eric, can you come up and just, grab this microphone, please? Because we record all these meetings, and the clerk is making notes, but I don't know if she can keep up with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just saying that I'm not sure if it made it into your guys' packet, but we did submit a traffic memo from a licensed traffic engineer to the Board of Zoning that was considered with their packet, and I'm happy to share that with anybody. As we work through the IDOT process for overall access to the site. We'll work on any traffic impact that. So exactly as you said, our business model is to capture the existing traffic in the area, not to pull traffic to us. So that's the reason for the picked location.
Thank you.
And as far as, I'm sorry, go ahead, trustee.
No, go ahead.
As far as construction, I believe I heard you say you're going to, as soon as you can finish all of your agreement purchases and everything else, you're going to start construction pretty soon, almost right away, right?
So the property right now is under contract. We don't own the property yet. We're in our due diligence phase. Part of that, obviously, is getting the necessary approvals from the board and the village. As we work through those, our intent will be to move to construction documents and start this project as soon as possible.
Okay, so you're going to develop the entire 4.5 acres that's out there right now?
That's correct.
Okay.
There's a portion of the southern parcel of the property that will be utilized as detention. So on the plan, it may look undeveloped, but the intent is that we will utilize all the property.
Okay, and then I know when I spoke with, might have been Andrew from your company back a couple of months ago, you are going to install, your goal is to put in a 66-foot street that merges the two properties together. You can have a regular street there?
Yeah, that's correct. That's the intention. Negotiation, our conversation is still ongoing with the adjacent property. That is
Okay.
with the intention of that plan and what's reflected on the site plan that was submitted to.
And he said you folks would take responsibility for maintaining that street then too? It's not a dedicated city, village street?
That's correct.
Okay.
That would be our intention.
All right. And I do have public work and water here and stuff. Any concerns from you guys too, or anything that needs to come up? Okay. Trustees, any questions you can think of?
Just a quick question. Westbound traffic, is your business going to allow westbound traffic to pull into your facility?
That would be the intent, yes, sir. We still need to work through IDOT to secure
A left turn lane?
and potential improvements for a left turn lane or anything like that. But
Because that would cause a backup. So, as
that would be
you,
our intention,
yeah.
is to improve that area to allow for a left turn.
okay.
Yeah, everyone was very fond of the presentation both times. At the another location before on Cicero, just maybe the spot wasn't ideal, but certainly your company has got, I believe I read 906 locations.
That's accurate, yeah. We just hit over 900 across at least 14 states.
I tell you, I was in Austin, Texas 2 weeks ago, and you couldn't go 5 miles without bumping into another one and stuff here too. You know, I mean, there's 200 locations in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
One
amazing.
of our larger markets. So I'm actually from our Kansas City market, working in the Kansas City office. We just opened our 94th store there, and so that's about like half the size of Austin or Dallas or something like that. So you double the size of those markets.
And this is going to be your first Illinois store, right?
We have a couple of stores in the state of Illinois because we have a market in St. Louis, so
Okay.
across the state line, and then with some of the other sites we've been working just in the general area. We've got a few that are ready to start construction, but it will be one of our first in the what we call kind of the Chicago metro.
Okay,
Hopefully first in the
okay. Any more questions, trustees? No? Oh, yeah, Jim, go ahead. And you want, gentlemen, if you would, Eric, can you put your name, please, on that chart, just so the clerk can keep track who's
Jim
spoken?
Persino, I'm the property owner. I just want to address something that Trustee Peretta said. When IDOT took roughly an acre of my property to put the ramp in on to 127th, part of our settlement, and I mentioned this at the last presentation at the Plan Commission, was not just getting paid for the value of the property. We also got an agreement from IDOT that they have to give us full access to 127th Street, no right in, right out. At least one access. Like you could have another one that would be right in, right out. But that was part of the actual settlement in court. So we do have the right to have full access to 127th Street. IDOT has to grant it. How they decide to do it is up, is going to be up to negotiations between Quick Trip and IDOT, but they can't deny it.
All right.
Otherwise, they'd be in violation of the court order.
Jim, with the exception of the Speedway gas station that used to be out near the street, how long has that land been vacant?
As far as I know, nothing's ever been on the rest of the property
Right.
ever. I think we actually found, I think we first acquired the first piece back in '86, if I remember right, and we then assembled it over many years. The last assemblage was the buying of the Speedway parcel in 2007. to make sure they had the whole thing under control. And I say we because I used to have a partner who passed away and whose family I bought out when they inherited his interest in my property. So now I own everything 100% myself. So they're not involved anymore. But we did this over a number of years. And I think at one point in time when we investigated the site, I think we found an old house foundation on one of the parcels from many, 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 many years ago.
Wow. Interesting.
Is that your house, Mike?
Yeah.
Freighters have been here a long time.
Other than
Yeah.
that, we don't believe there was any other development on the property besides the Speedway.
All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. And again, I apologize. I usually try to do that, like when we have folks in the audience, I try to, I'm certainly out of interest of your time. So,
problem.
thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming
sir.
out. And then, so we'll put this on the agenda next week for final approval, and we wanted to resolve any questions or issues the board might have tonight. So certainly you're welcome to go, guys, if you wish. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And then,
So just
we
finish
go to
number
the...
4.
Pardon? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, trustee.
Request for an approval of ordinance of the Village of Alsip granting a special use permit authorizing the repair and storage of trucks and trailers for the property located at 4190 West 123rd Street, Alsip, Illinois.
Okay, and I don't believe we had anybody here from that organization this evening, but that, we approved that last week at our board meeting, and our attorney, Mike Cankart, drafted us an ordinance to approve that special use permit. So that's all that is. And then, again, very quick before we break, can we go to the police committee report, please? Who's on police this evening? Trustee Delzal's.
Yeah, I'll take that, Mayor.
Okay.
I have one item to add. The Alsip Police Department would ask the Village of Alsip Board to accept a bid from Minuteman Security Technologies and enter into a contract for 10 license plate reader cameras. And that's all I have, Mayor.
So during our budget discussion before this meeting, Deputy Chief Sean Schultz with us. Deputy Chief, you qualified the license plate readers, and you felt Minuteman is the best company to choose?
Yes, sir, for several reasons. First off, we had one bid that was 3 times the price of all the other competition. So based on the fact that it was 3 times the price and offered no advantages that they discerned within the bid process, I would say they would be eliminated just sheerly on the cost. The other competitor came in, though it was about the same price as Minuteman Solutions, had 3 times the higher maintenance cost per year. So what Minuteman Solutions has was the technology we were looking for. The price that it came in was very reasonable, and some of the other things, its recurring cost was the lowest of the 3 competitors. In addition to that, they're local. If we have any issues, they have an office in Tinley Park that they can service us. Also, to kind of keep in mind, too, that they also are under contract right now at Chicago Ridge. They're getting, I think, 8 or 9 cameras worth is also in a contract with them. Tinley Park has over 86 cameras with them and are adding additional. We would be part of this network that would greatly aid us in either finding stolen or missing vehicles and tracking them and their movements, or if we're trying to find suspects, we have access to any of those people's data. So if we know a car is at, let's say, 103rd and Ridgeland, because it went through one of the lights in Chicago Ridge every day at 4 o'clock, well, we know where we need to be that day at 4 o'clock if we're looking for a particular vehicle. So, like I said, of the 3 competitors, I think it clarified and met all of our bid specs, and it is the most cost-effective way of doing it.
Okay. And again, for the record, we had 3 quotes.
3,
that came in. All right, okay. Good. Go ahead, Trustee Prado. It's your committee. Did anything else you want to say to this matter?
No, that's it, Mayor.
Okay. Any other questions for the chief? All right. Thanks much, Chief. And we'll put that in for approval next week then.
Thank you.
Okay. I need to take a short break for a closed session. Mike, did you want to meet with us right now real quick? Sure. Okay. All right. We need to go into a closed session, and we'll come right back out. We have to do an update with our attorney. And I did have it on the agenda? Yes, I do. So we need to go in and discuss collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2, Chapter 2. Can I get a motion and a second to do that?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call number 1 to adjourn to closed session. Trustee Dalzell is absent. Trustee Juarez?
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin is absent. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Navas-Garza?
Yes.
Trustee Peretta?
Yes.
Motion carries to adjourn to closed session.
Thank you very much. This will be real brief, folks. We're just going to go back and have a conversation.
We're
We'll
gonna
work
come
back up.
back to
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting back to order. Time now is 8:45 p.m. Thank you for your patience, guys. I appreciate that. We had our attorney here and so forth. I wanted to get him going. We're going to finish our next conversation with water and sewer. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, we're going to talk sanitary sewer since
Okay.
both Mike and Dan are here together.
All right, go
And
ahead.
share those responsibilities. So sanitary sewer is, the nice thing about sanitary sewer budget is you can see exactly how it's doing. And if you look on line 11 of sanitary, line 12 of sanitary sewer, you can see that over the next couple of years, they're using cash. But they're not using cash after that. They're actually building reserve. So another couple of years and sanitary should be doing okay. And I know they're building reserve is because if you look at line 42 is the sanitary sewer reserve. And in year 2026, we're putting about $950,000 into a reserve. In year 27, we're putting $969,000. So sanitary is going to pull itself out here and be good. And I think that's because we're raising rates on a regular basis. Annual, not anymore.
Not on the sanitary sewer, no.
Ah.
Sanitary sewers hasn't been, that rate hasn't changed since 2007.
Okay, because I have the revenues increasing on a regular basis, so that's not going to happen.
Well, it certainly could, but it's not been looked at
Oh, okay.
or
That-
proposed, you know.
Yeah, we might want to look at that.
2007?
Do a gradual increase, not, slam a huge thing in there. But we got to keep up with the cost of things. So,
And the biggest cost that's going to incur under sanitary is, again, the MWRD mandate for the inflow and infiltration, where we need to be, maintaining at least 10% of our system every 3 years, I think, 5 years, I'm sorry, where it, inspections, cleaning, lining. So we're going to see that cost each year and beyond, and that's a cost that's going to increase as well, so, with each year. So that would be the biggest reason why we would probably have to look at increasing the sanitary fees for that alone.
well, I have a built-in increase in here already. So if we could look at what that would mean to the sanitary sewer costs currently and what that would do to individual households and such, we might want to take a look at that and see what that would cost. Because this increase right here puts sanitary in good shape. So. Any questions or concerns?
Well, obviously, we're only spending what we're bringing, I mean, it's balanced. I mean, your revenue stream is on point, we're not overspending, we're within a budget here.
We're using cash to the tune, in next year, we'll be using about $18,000 of cash. In '24, we'll be using about $35,000 in cash, and in '25, we'll be using about $42,000 in cash. So,
Based on current rates, the, sanitary sewer charges bring in about $750,000 to $760,000 annually. And, yeah, I mean, with projects that Mike is looking at doing for some of the larger lining sections, you know, you're probably going to exceed that. And, you know, once we get a better handle on how much he needs to do annually, we can get a real close approximation of what the rate should be. They're currently
Okay.
75 cents per 1,000 gallons of water consumption, but, you know, that hasn't changed since 2007.
Mike, I'm looking to even little things here like your sanitary sewer materials and supplies. Even currently, we're 127. We've over, obviously, your budget was only, and let's see,
7,000.
line number 29, the $7,000 budget. We've spent $7,400 on it, so we're 106% of that now. Just what do you think's the driver on that? Let me ask you.
Again, you know, we're seeing more repairs on our side, you know, in-house that we're doing, an increase in material cost. I think also we discovered that Dan had actually been paying some items out of that line item as well. I wasn't aware of at the time, so.
Yeah, the repairs to lift stations also come out of that same budget, and we did
Okay.
have some recent repairs to a couple of our lift stations where we had to replace some equipment.
I mean, unless this is a typo, I was just looking here, even with equipment, on line number 32, just a couple of years ago, that was 77. Oh, you know what? I know what that is. Oh, no, actually, it wasn't. I was thinking of your vac truck or something like that, but that thing really jumped, $77,000. On average, you only spend maybe about $3,000 a year.
19.
Yeah, in 2019?
Yeah, that was the Vector truck.
Okay.
I believe in 19, yeah, that's a,
I thought, how much was that vacuum truck?
oh, that was more than that.
That's
Yeah.
a lot
That was
more
100.
expensive than that.
That vacuum truck was about 150,000.
Or 200.
Yeah, it was like 185, something like that. Whatever, I just, that one just happened to jump out at me, but some of these other mics, infrastructure improvements, last year, number 34, you had 35,000, we don't have any? You don't have any projects coming up?
Those are all capital projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as Dan pointed out, the revenues that come in from residential, industrial sewer, like you said, Dan, about 760 is what we're currently bringing in from that.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Anything else on sanitary sewer? Okay. It's a dirty subject. So we can go to water now? Got a couple of changes, Dan.
Yep, well, I'm going to start with, I'm going to skip over our capital projects for the time being and just start with the big movers on our regular budget. Obviously, the biggest is going to be, there's going to be a 5% increase in water costs from the state of Chicago. Rates are going up 5% this year, so that line item, you know, has been adjusted to correspond to that for water purchase. Along with that, electricity and natural gas are going up significantly this year, so those are three of the larger increases. Beyond that, the rest of the budget is pretty, you know, standard in, you know, either keeping pace with, you know, increases or, you know, no changes. And then the capital projects, I've provided you guys with a plan sheet with all the different programs we're looking at doing. And one of the first ones, like Joyce was talking about, is a change to the line items you see here for 479-80-10 for capital expenses. We're we already went out to bid for the sodium hypochlorite system, and that bid came in at $260,000 roughly. That didn't get put into this fiscal year. It's in there in the detail on the capital side, but it didn't get transferred to the actual line item in here, so that needs to be, it's going to change from the $200,000 you see there now to $460,000.
Dan, I want to back up a little bit. On the revenue side,
Okay.
line number 10, with solid waste disposal fees, is that a typo? That number is screaming. Last year it was only a $25,000 budget, now, I'm sorry, revenue rather, $25,000, now it's 1.2?
It's a strange way that basically because the garbage collection fees are charged on the utility bills, those revenues come into that fund and are transferred out on a regular basis. So it's not easily tracked by this particular number, and Joyce can speak to that a little better.
So it should be a zero-sum game, because we pay for the contract out of the the environmental health budget.
Mm-hmm.
So we take this revenue and we move it. Probably not the best way to do that. In the future, what we're going to be doing is doing a transfer, so this revenue will stay in here. It'll look like it stays in here, but we'll have an expense line where we actually transfer that to the general fund to pay for that contract.
So the 1.2 is an accurate number, though?
It is an accurate number.
All right. I'm sorry, Danny, go ahead. Where were you at again?
So I was just saying that on, again, line number 33, again, that number was $200,000, but with the carryover of the sodium hypochlorite system project that came in at roughly $260,000, that line item get changed to $460,000.
Okay.
$460,000. And then another correction on line number 36 is that number there is actually the expenses for last year for that, I'm sorry, no, 37, I apologize, line number 37. That's the expense number for last year for the engineering for the Route 83 water main relocation project. The actual budget number that was proposed for this year is $94,000.
Instead of 25?
Correct. And that project is kicking off now, so it's going to...
I saw everybody over there, a lot of equipment staged over and everything, too.
Yeah, it's a rough start. So, beyond that, the other capital projects we have laid out as a lot of water main relocations, and I've changed the priority and moved some around from our previous year's improvement plan just to get some of the water main that's located in roadways that need to be improved out of, at least repaired and replaced before the roads are done. So we've moved some of those projects up in our capital plan. And that the other larger item is the replacement of one of our service trucks this year. The current truck is a 2008 F450. It's got 130,000 miles on it and costs us a lot in maintenance. Probably each of our two service trucks has cost us over $30,000 to almost $40,000 in the last 5 years for maintenance, and between emissions repairs and engine repairs, they're seeing a lot higher maintenance costs that are not worth putting out there if we can get them replaced.
Are you talking about 23? You're going to replace it in FY23?
As well as a second one in FY25.
FY25, yeah.
Yes.
Have you looked into when the delivery is on?
Well, I'm sure it's delayed like everybody else is, but we'll find whatever's the best option and get that project started.
Sooner rather than later.
Correct.
Any other questions?
So this actually shows, Dan, your expenses came down $3 million. Does that sound right?
Well, the expenses are down because last year's expense also showed the almost $3 million water main replacement project
Oh, yeah.
with the IEP loan.
Okay.
So yeah, you would see a reduction in that, and that we're not looking to do that much, almost $1 million in water main
I was just going to
replacement
ask
this
that
year. but
question.
not-
Every year, that's always my goal, is to do at least $1 million a year, but
That's where we're at roughly between the Route 83 project and the proposed Keeler trip,
okay.
118th place.
One of the things I've stressed to these gentlemen is that we need to come up with a 10-year capital plan. We have 50-plus miles of sanitary sewer and water lines. We have a great deal that needs to be replaced. Again, a plan of how are we getting, Dan, it costs, how much is it for a mile?
It goes up each year, but it's up. It's over $1 million a mile now. I mean, we did in the last 5 years just 4 miles of water main, and it's been almost, I think, $7 million for 4 miles.
So we need a long-term plan to continue to improve these systems. So that's why I'm stretching them, telling them we need a 10-year. We need to put 10 years in here so that we start to put this money away to do these kind of very, very expensive projects. I don't have anything else, if anybody else has something.
No, obviously, anytime you look down and see a $3 million reduction, like you said, there's a project not there, but it looks like a great thing anyway. I guess it is, but Danny, keep up the good work, both you guys. I mean, these are difficult departments to work with and stuff yet, too, because you don't have a crystal ball to know what you're looking for next time. We have an idea. We know where the infrastructure is at, but like anything else, like we've talked about when we were redoing streets recently, it's like, well, you got to stop what you were doing, let Danny get in front of you, and then you come back and get your street done and stuff then, too, so. And we came across a couple things we learned this year with, we had some situations where we replaced quite a bit of sanitary sewer that fell apart on us in certain parts of town, too, and a lot of work to, I have new understanding for that now, too. I mean, when you look at these sanitary sewer lines, they're not just a couple feet underground. Those things were 12 foot down.
Wow.
And then once they broke loose, you had raw sewage in there and stuff then too. So they're bringing all that up. They're vacuuming all that out and everything else to even get at the pipe they had to work on. So.
And these lines are the lifeblood of this city.
Absolutely. In every community, it's where you putting your sewage.
Well, it's not just sewage, but your water lines too.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about sanitary sewers. I mean, it's. Water mains are certainly they're important, but it's like where is all the waste going to all this kind of thing then too? So
very critical.
Yep.
Very critical. That's all I have on the budgets, but I have a couple of comments that I'd like to make.
Sure.
The new phone system goes live tomorrow. Woohoo! The phones have been in for a week or two, and everybody's been able to do calls within the village hall. But we are actually going live tomorrow, and the system is switching off. And it's a shame the fire department's not here now, because I would let them know that there's going to be a fire coming out of the basement on Wednesday. Because we're going to set that old system on fire. No, we're not. Bob is going to be switching some stuff off on Wednesday once we switch over, like the T1 lines I was telling you about earlier. So I want to give a great big kudo to both Brian, Leon, and Bob for getting this system done. It was amazing. They did a great job. And I really like working with B&B. B&B Communications has been wonderful. Guided us through the whole thing and really didn't miss a step. So the other thing I want to talk to you about is the Opeb bid was supposed to be open tonight. We got no bids. So I got some feedback. First Midwest is not going to be bidding on it because they are not in the business of doing OPEB trusts. Fifth Third said they would have bid on it, but they didn't have enough time. This is a pretty stringent RFP. I'm not going to lie to you. It's pretty stringent. So what I would like to do is I would like to extend the bid opening at least a month to maybe 6 weeks to give people some time to actually respond. I'm asking for some 10-year data. I'm asking for some 5-year data. I want to know what your track record is. I want to know that you've done this and you can do it well. So it takes time to put that information together. So I would like to extend it at least a month, if not 6 weeks, to give people a chance to respond. Unless you have other thoughts.
I think that's reasonable.
You want me to go 6 weeks? That gives them plenty of time?
Sure.
6 weeks works. I'd be okay with that.
I mean, it took us this long to get here, and
I'm ready. I want to get
and
it
when you
done.
see nobody, you and I talked about this afternoon, when you see nobody took advantage of this opportunity just yet, obviously we need to get a bigger net, and exactly, we need it a little bit longer. So I would, you know what, Clerk Harding, could you just get a consensus, please? Because that was something official we did where we were supposed to get bids signed, we didn't get any. And what we're asking a consensus here is to allow the Finance Department to re-advertise the RFP for OPEB Trust for an additional 6 weeks.
Okay, roll call number 2, to extend the Opeb bid for 6 weeks. Trustee Dalzell is absent. Trustee Juarez?
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin is absent. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Navas-Barza?
Yes.
Trustee Peretta?
Yes.
You have your consensus.
Thank you.
All right.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Trustee Navas-Barza, anything else under Finance?
No, that's it, Mayor.
Okay. We'll finish up with our reports. Fire Committee, Trustee Murphy?
Mayor, there's no official report under fire. However, we have a firefighter resigning in April, and this is a new one. And I would like to get a consensus to start the process for his replacement. We'd like to commit the commission to start as soon as possible so that there isn't any overlap or as much overlap. This would help again with overtime and making sure that the ball gets rolling here sooner rather than later. So I would need a consensus tonight for Chief Szynski to go ahead and start that process.
I'm familiar with this issue, and yes, it was somebody that we recently hired.
14 months.
Yeah, no slight to us, but the candidate was applying at numerous places at the same time, and actually the town he selected is the town I believe he lives in.
Okay.
So he was testing everywhere, and it shook out to just happen to be where this particular candidate is at. And as Trustee Murphy said, this way, if we take a consensus now, I can inform the Police and Fire Commission to move to the next candidate on the eligibility list so I can start qualifying somebody else. Mm-hmm. Can you call a roll call, please, for that?
Roll call number 3 for a consensus to hire a new firefighter.
Just to process another firefighter.
I'm sorry, to process another firefighter with the current firefighter that is resigning in April. Trustee Dalzell is absent. Trustee Juarez?
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin is absent. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Navas-Barza?
Yes.
Trustee Peretta?
Yes.
You have your consensus.
Thank you. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Next, we had Public Work and Boat Launch, Trustee Juarez.
No report.
And the only thing was, as Superintendent Frater, I didn't get a chance to talk to everybody earlier. I was talking to Trustee Juarez. She's the chair on Public Work, but we had an engine unfortunately fall apart on one of our 2014 truck, and Mike feels it's in our best interest to replace the engine in that truck. Only two things, obviously, going against you. One is the cost of a brand-new vehicle, and at the same time, the availability is nil.
Correct.
And
The engine replacement's actually in stock. It can be installed and done and completed in a week. Of course, a new truck is going to cost more, and simply just, we can't get our hands on one.
this is an $18,000 repair. It's a diesel on top of it for a Ford F-350 pickup at $18,000 to repair a 2014 vehicle with only 50,000 miles on it. So, again, there's still some life in that vehicle. I was talking to a couple of trustees, and I spoke to Mike about it right before the meeting. I actually went online this afternoon, just trying to do some comparables to what can I get in that same kind of vehicle, and there's really not a lot out there. I saw a 2017 that looked like somebody was throwing, looked like an excavating company was using it. It was a good shape, don't get me wrong. It had dually wheels and everything else, and would have been wonderful, but even then, 2017, they were asking $45,000 for the thing, so. And how much for a brand-new one right now, Mike?
It's over 60,000.
Over 60 for another truck, so. With
Again,
the
we're looking at, you got to put a plow package together on this thing, and,
Yeah.
that's why you see a increased cost.
So Mike believes with the lower cost, obviously to expense this for replacement is worthy, if the truck's in good shape and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, the truck, other than this issue, it has no other issues. It's in great shape. Otherwise, I'd be the first one to really debate whether it's worth it, but by all means, this is the way to go.
Okay. Now, I've seen it's just your typical F-350 one-ton pickup. They do push snow with it, and it's got a Tommy lift on the back of it, too, for heavy things I got to pick up once in a while. So, anyway, Mike, yeah, you gave him the go, get that done, we'll get that back in the fleet, and you're still waiting on another truck to come in anyway, too. All right. Thank you. Anything else, Trustee Juarez?
No, thank you.
Oh, and you guys are going to be out this week to open up the boat launch and get that all straightened
Yes.
up? And Dan, you guys got to go in there too and turn on water and all that?
Yes.
Okay. Boat launch opens on
April 1st?
this weekend. Yeah, Friday, actually,
Friday.
on the 1st. Next, we have the Building and Health, Trustee Prada. I'm sorry, skipped it. Sewer and Water, Trustee Navas-Barza.
Thank you. We just had a discussion about the proposed budget for fiscal year '23, but other than that, no other updates.
Okay. Building and Health, Trustee Prada.
No report, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Human Resource and Insurance, Trustee Murphy.
No report, Mayor.
All right. Special Committee Reports, Economic Development, Trustee Navas-Barza.
No report this evening.
All right. Village Properties Committee.
No report.
Okay, thank you. Also, we did get a compliment earlier from Joyce, actually, was talking about, you see more of our CSOs over in the Heritage area. And I was going to just point out to everybody, I just got these today, that the new apartment management company put together some nice flyers that they've got out now then too, with floor plans for both apartment complexes and stuff then too. We never had these before, and this is nice to see. And they put out they have their own newsletter now, which I've never seen before, just for the Heritage apartments yet too. So not only the newsletter, but they've got we recently had a safety seminar with the police community to talk to everybody. They're telling me what days bingos are and senior fitness and whatnot then too, so they got all that on there. And then, what was the last thing here? Oh, village-wide garage sale, things like that, and just reminders. But it's nice to see they've stepped up with some communications over there.
They're also
so.
taking online payments now.
Yep, taking online payments, and I heard from a couple of residents, they really like the idea of all the robocalls and stuff. Everybody gets a call when something comes up over there. So HRE is doing a good job.
Very nice.
Ordinance legislation, Trustee Peretta.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a request for approval of an ordinance authorizing an agreement of the Village of Alsip with DNL LLC with respect to the property located at 12324 South Laramie Avenue, Alsip, Illinois, PIN number 24284000025, quadruple zero. Second, I have a request for approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip approving the renewal of Class 6B assessment status for the real estate located at 12324 South Laramie Avenue, Alsip, Illinois, PIN number 24284000025, quadruple zero. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We did our planning and zoning and licenses already. Did anybody have any presentations, petitions, or communications they wanted to share? How about any unfinished business? Any new business? Then can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We're going to adjourn our regular meeting then at 9:16 p.m. Thanks for hanging in there with us. We had a lot to discuss tonight, and enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you.